All right, we're live. We're live. Let me know if you guys can hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know and I will talk a little bit louder. It is a Thursday night, 10:24 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I had my vlog come out today. Had some interesting news on my vlog that I had to come out today. Hope you had a chance to watch it. Someone is asking, what is Pardes Live? Pardes Live is this live stream I do every night. It is an ongoing thing. Someone is asking on Periscope. It's an ongoing thing. It's like every weeknight, Monday through Friday at around 10 p.m. And usually it's a little bit later than 10 p.m. It's usually like 10:20 or whatever. All right, your response is ew. Okay, thanks for the feedback. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, anyway. All right. Hello, new followers. Overlord Johnny. Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Jonathan. Spick Frank says relationships are right when it doesn't go wrong. Duh. That's really interesting. All right. Hey, hello everybody. Hello, Wally. We've got someone on YouTube who says that they have tried unfollowing me on Twitter, but then keeps coming back. It's kind of like you're kind of in like this addictive relationship with me. It's like you keep trying to get away, but then you come back and you keep trying to get me out of your head, and it's like, but then I'm back. And then, I'm back in your head, and then you're like, I'm addicted. But my mind says no. Anyway, I'm in a public space, so, if someone comes here and shuts it down, just be ready for that. If you're on Periscope and you're not following me on YouTube, go over to YouTube and follow me on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. So the topic of relationships came up because I spoke to multiple people today about relationships. I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about multiple people I was talking to about relationships today. It was so interesting that it was a thing. I guess because it's like fall and we're headed towards winter, and a lot of people I feel like this is kind of a time when people start to become a little more snuggly with their loved ones. Either relationships become closer or they become less, or there a lot of breakups happen around this time. And I think that's because you're kind of going into the holiday season. It's someone is saying cuffing season. You're entering this season where you're gonna end up cuddling a lot. You're gonna end up being with each other's families. You're gonna end up having more time away from vacation, time away from work where you vacation, and you so if this is when a lot of thinking happens when it comes to relationships. Alex says, pretty sure guys' testosterone levels are higher around this time of year. Is that real? I don't know. And more babies are conceived? I don't know. I'd have to look that up, maybe. I definitely know that a lot of people have been... Alex is about to share the article with us on YouTube. Overlord Johnny says, what about those of us who are not paired? Do you think this is a time to reconnect with ourselves? Yeah, definitely. I've been single for a nice chunk of time, and I think that this has been a time for me to evaluate just my regular relationships, not necessarily a boyfriend, but just the kind of interactions I have with different people. what they're like, what's right or wrong about each relationship. By relationship, I mean just regular relationship with people, whether there is sort of like any sort of like romantic attraction or a friendship. So it really just applies to everybody. I think it's not just if you're paired officially or you're paired. It's probably just it's everybody. I think everybody is kind of has a chance to be in this mindset. All right. Ira says, I missed your last stream and it nearly broke me this stream. I'm going to have a burrito in my hand, typing slow. All right. I'm glad you could join us, Ira. You didn't miss last night. Last night's was a low energy live stream. Maybe some people, I know a lot of people watched. It was a low energy live stream in which low energy me talked about being low energy and not being motivated. So yes, I'm cold all the time. I'm always cold. So a lot of breakups happen around this time of year, which is actually a really good thing because I think that breakups are more productive than makeups. Breaking up with somebody is, in my opinion, more productive than trying to force a relationship to work. 1 second. Let me see if I can share this. I'm going to share this on YouTube. We are live. We're live on YouTube. Okay, let's see if this worked. All right. I'm trying to get more people over to the YouTube side. So I always hear, especially from like parents, they're like, why don't you, the reason why there's so many singles, no one's trying to make their relationships work. People are lazy and they try to, they just give up on their relationships so quickly. You could try to make a relationship work, but honestly, why, if you could have a better chance with someone who's more like you, why not? That's my idea. But anyway, how do you know if a relationship is right? Someone mentioned here in the stream that it comes down to feeling, if it feels right. There is really no right way to be in a relationship. People are like, you have to be, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. There's all these articles about what a healthy relationship looks like. All these, if you this is a healthy dynamic in a couple. This is, if you're saying this, and that's not healthy. If he's talking to you like this, that's not healthy. This is not right. But if it feels right for you, then it could actually be right, because it's all relative. Sometimes someone is saying, what if your soulmate is Hassan Piker? Thank you, prodigal. Ashley says balance is the key to everything success. I get a little bit distracted with the comments, so that's why it's gonna take me a while until I respond to all of them. It gets me distracted, and so that's why if it feels like I'm not reading your stuff, it's just because I'm not reading all of it at the same time. Okay? But shoot, what was I saying? there isn't really there isn't like really a right way to be in a relationship. It's not like I'm gonna like, I used to complain about certain people's relationships, like people I knew, he's not treating you right, you're not treating him, this isn't right from an outsider's perspective. And for them it might actually, if you have what the other person needs and they have what you need, then what's not right, If like talking in a mean way is how you're both communicating with each other, and then there's like this symbiotic thing, and like to me it seems mean, but to you it might just be the way that's the way you roll. Someone is saying that I sound so open-minded that my brain is falling out. No, I'm just a little scatterbrained because I'm distracted. This is like something that I experience a lot, and when I talk to other girls, they seem to be experiencing it too. The feeling of being too much. Like, I feel like I'm being too much whenever I talk to, if I'm in a relationship or not in a relationship but dating, or like, interacting romantically with a guy. I feel like I'm too much. I'm not connecting to him emotionally, and he's not. But he's like, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I'm not there. I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. I'm here. I'm talking to you, aren't I? We're communicating, aren't we communicating? And you're like, no, but we're not. We're not really communicating. And I feel like that's always a red flag. Like, if you feel like you're too much in any way, to me that just doesn't feel, that's just, it doesn't feel right. I've had people where I'm like, okay, I don't feel too much when it comes to like physical stuff. I feel like I can say or do whatever and they'll still think it's great. And so that's great. That means that we fit in the physical category or whatever. But I do feel like I can't talk about my feelings to this person. I can't be emotional. I can't be like cuddly. I can't be expressive. I can't come to them with my problems. And even if I could, and even if they want me to, and even if they encourage me to, it just doesn't feel like they're listening or they're interested. It always feels like I'm being too much. And so, like, usually it's not just you who feels that way, it's also the other person, Like, usually it's like a communication thing. Like I remember talking about, when are you ready for marriage? And they're like, oh, well, if you're doing this, like, I was dating this guy and he wasn't ready to get married. He didn't want to commit. He didn't want to get married. And then you ask the guy and he says the same thing. She didn't want to commit. She didn't want to get married. And you're just like, you're literally both complaining about the same thing. Or like, even like the emotional stuff, he didn't want to, he wasn't connecting to me emotionally. And he'll say the same thing. She wasn't connecting to me emotionally. It usually isn't like one person is not being emotional, one person isn't ready for marriage. It's literally just that you guys are not the right fit. You're not communicating on the same level. What seems emotional for one person doesn't feel that for the other person. And so, like, I could be talking in my language until tomorrow, but if it isn't really the language that the guy talks, it's not connecting emotionally to him. Just because I'm communicating by talking, doesn't mean that it's going to reach him. And people, and like personally, I'm very emotional. People will always be like, you're a girl, you're very emotional. Maybe not all people are like that. Guys aren't like that, and you just have to like accept that a guy isn't gonna be as emotional. And I've tried to kind of push myself to like not talk so much, not be as emotional. And I get that a lot from guys, like, stop talking so much, just whatever. And it doesn't feel good. It's like I just rather be alone. I'd rather not be around people, If I can't talk, I have to be in my own little cage, like, it doesn't feel good. And just because you are an emotional person or you're female, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to be yourself around somebody. And it doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who work for you. There are plenty of men. There are people out there who could work. I've seen it. And someone says you just need someone who can listen. Yeah, like, I don't even know how it is. There are some men that when I talk to them, like, I don't feel like I'm being too much. And to me, that proves that you literally don't have to change yourself. There is somebody for every need that you have. Ideally, you want somebody who fits right in all your areas or most of your areas, but you don't have to change yourself. You don't have to be ready for marriage. You don't have to be ready to commit. You literally just have to find the right person and just keep dating as many people as possible and keep breaking up with as many people as possible and just experimenting as much as possible. Like, a lot of guys, and I actually think this is guys. A lot of guys will stay in relationships just because of sex. And I don't think girls are necessarily staying in relationships for that reason, just because biologically girls are not as attached to that. Girls are more attached emotionally. This is like... This is just my opinion. And I'm speaking generally, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I've noticed that guys tend to be a little more attached for sexual reasons, and they will stay in a relationship even if they're not able to connect on an intellectual level, or, actually girls do it too. I guess it's like for hopes that maybe like the other part will fit, I don't know. For hopes that maybe, I can change for the person, and the guy will just try to power through it, You'll just try to power through it when the other person is not connecting with you the way that you want. If you're feeling alone in a relationship, like if you have a partner and you still feel like you're alone, then there is a huge problem. If you are married, I don't even want to talk for marriage. Like, I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm not even going to talk for you if you're married. I'm just going to talk for you if you're in a relationship, because I have not reached the point of marriage, and I have not reached the point of marriage. Someone is saying girls are way too picky nowadays. Everybody's picky nowadays. There's a lot more communication going around, So there's a lot more options. So everyone is just more picky. We're just more. The internet and everything is making us all more interconnected. So it's yeah, it's scary, but it doesn't mean that you won't find it. It just means that you have to just take advantage of your resources. Don't block yourself off and say, oh no, like, take advantage of the internet. Honestly, I've met so many people who found amazing relationships through the internet. Like, take advantage. Just because it's the internet, it doesn't make it like bad. It doesn't mean that you're not gonna find someone because there's too many people. It just means that now the way that we find people are different than they used to be. It's just a different way. Someone is saying they're leaving, they're getting depressed. I'm sorry. Don't feel depressed. Felix says, I want to fall in love and get married, have loads of kids, then immediately die supremely happy. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, that's something that I always wanted. I wanted to fall in love. Like, people in my community that I grew up in were set up through matchmakers. And, I was being set up through matchmakers too. I was dating through matchmakers, and I didn't like it. And they were like, here's a list of what you would like and what they would like, and you had to have like a dating resume. It was like a wife job resume, and like, and you both had to have it, and the matchmaker would match it up together and see if you fit right on paper, and then you meet in person and see if you fit right in person. And it's like, it just felt so mechanical. Like, I wanted to fall in love. I wanted to be able to explore on my own without being set up by a matchmaker. It's a little bit harder, but I think it's worth it. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Another way, okay, 1 second. Someone is saying this. Prodigal says, what if your soul mate is Cenk Uygar, whatever the Young Turks guy is? Yeah, I don't believe in soulmates. That's just me. I don't believe in soulmate. I believe that your soulmate is whoever you fit with, and and someone in the comments is mentioning intuition. Yeah, I do believe that it's your intuition. It feels right. If it's right, it will feel right. If you like, this is how I know a relationship is right. Any sort of relationship, like a friendship or whatever. Because for me, the way that I measure it, and it's usually, it's actually right. Like, this has actually really worked well for me. It's worked well for me in all my relationships. If I feel like I'm too much, it's not right. Like, I know that it's not right. Or that I'm not gonna get, that I have to be careful what I am trying to get out of that relationship. It's not gonna be right. If I feel like I'm too much in a certain area, then it's not right in that area, at least. It doesn't mean that I have to not have a relationship with somebody. It just means that I'm only gonna have a certain type of relationship with that person. If I feel like I'm not being too much, like if I feel like I can just be myself no matter what in front of that person, and in fact I feel even better, that's like perfect. If I feel amazing, and if I feel like I can be as much myself as I want in front of somebody or around somebody, with somebody, it's like the ideal relationship. Someone is saying that doesn't make sense. Okay, I'll repeat it because I'm probably being a little bit if I feel like I'm too much in a relationship, I will take that as a sign. And I think a lot of people are like me, where and I'm not talking about as a girl, and I'm not talking about emotional stuff. I'm just talking about in general. If you feel like you're being too much, it's usually a sign that your needs aren't being met. Whether, physically, emotionally, mentally, if you feel like you have too much to talk about and they're not interested, the other person is not interested, your mind isn't on the same level, and so that's a sign. Okay, I'm not gonna get the mind stuff out of this person. I'm not gonna be able to have an intellectual conversation with this person. Maybe everything is perfect in the physical department. No matter what I do, I don't feel like I'm being too much physically. I can, whatever I want, it's being received well, whatever, it's great. But in the department of brain things and intellectual conversations, it's not working. So, I don't think that there's a right way to do it. There isn't a way that you have to be. It's but that's my thing. Like, that's what I use. Someone is saying, how many guys' hearts have you broken? I honestly don't think I don't know. Maybe guys don't say it. Like, I honestly, to this day, like, I've dated so many guys, I still don't understand, like, I can't tell if a guy's heart is broken. I can't tell. I don't know. Maybe, I can't tell. My personal thing that I try to look out for is, like, I can't tell if a guy's heart is broken. Usually it's harder for me to meet guys who are like receptive to and guys are, so here's the thing, like, people are not monsters. Like, everybody wants to fall in love. Everybody is gonna be receptive to each other. Everybody wants, like, no one is actively trying to hurt you in a relationship. Maybe there are psychopaths out there, but no one is like spending time with you in a relationship if they're not interested in you. You know what I mean? Like, no one is just in a relationship with you to pass the time. Everybody wants to fall in love, whether they know it or not. There's a reason why they are spending X amount of time with you. There's a reason why they're gravitating toward you at any time of the day, for whatever reason they say it is. They're not, and that's what I tell myself too. And, like, people want to fall in love. Sometimes it feels like you are putting too much effort in a relationship and they're not putting effort. I don't think that's the case. I think that usually it's because the way that you put effort is just so different. Like, you speak a different language. It just doesn't fit right. It's not that you're putting effort and they're not. You want the relationship. You want to be in love. You want to commit to marriage, and they don't want to commit. Because people want to. Everybody, if they're around you, there's something that they're wanting to gain from you. They're not going to be spending time with you if they don't like anything about you. Let's see. Someone says love is defined differently for different people. I agree. Oh, wow. Okay, we got some trolls here. I love the trolls because it means that this person is commenting a lot. I've got I love the trolls because it's like they stay on. Prodigal Champ says, I think it just happens. Half the time, I don't know. Oops. I don't even know I'm in a relationship. I am informed that I am in a relationship. Kind of like adopt a bear. Yeah. This is Loveline with Pardes. You know what? I used to listen to Loveline, and it was like I listened to it secretly because it's, you know, I went to like an ultra-Orthodox school, and I was like, you know, you weren't supposed to do that. So I listened to it like secretly at night under my bed, blanket, and loved it. Every night I would listen to it, and it was my favorite show. I would listen to all people's problems and their STD problems and their alcohol problems and drug problems, and I was always like, I want to be Dr. Drew when I grow up. That was in high school. That was in high school. Loveline was Dr. Drew and Adam. Who was it? Forgot the guy's name. Adam something with an L. I don't remember. Was it Adam Carolla? No, it wasn't Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla was on the show, I think, but it wasn't him. There was another guy. I don't remember. Someone says I should do an advice channel. You can ask me for advice here if you want. You can ask me for advice. Oh no, now everyone is worried about that they're the troll. It's fine, guys. You can troll as much as you want. I was half kidding. You can troll as much as you want. I like it. It's funny. Makes me feel relevant. It wasn't Adam Carolla. It was some other person. Oh, was it Mike? Mike? Was that the guy's name? Mike? Now it's just bothering me that I don't know. Okay, I'm looking at. Someone said something and I'm trying to remember what it was. Okay. Someone says love is an illusion. Haji says my heart was broken for a long time, which made me find out that was the only time it was. Good. Your comments are moving so fast I can't scroll through them fast enough. So another thing that I will say is like communication really makes everything better. Like, people are like, oh, and they say this to girls, like, Jacob says, how do I ignore a girl's attraction? How do you ignore a girl's attraction? That's like a really good question. I'm a girl, so I'm like the worst person to ask. 1 second. Prodigal says, Morgan Freeman is Jimi Hendrix. I am the troll. Okay. Jacob says, how do you ignore a girl's attraction without her getting aggravated? How do you ignore a girl's attraction? I don't know. I'm not a guy. The more you ignore a girl, the more she is attracted to you, the more she'll want you. So this is what I will say. This is personally, and I'm hoping no one in my personal life is watching this, because then they'll start doing this, but like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say it. But someone says, how do you accept that your love for someone is not reciprocated? If your love for someone is not being reciprocated, then it doesn't reflect anything on you. It just reflects on you literally just don't fit. And it's not just that you don't fit because they don't want you. It doesn't fit because you are feeling you're not feeling loved. You're not getting love in that relationship, because oftentimes, like, this is another thing I noticed where, like, one person is genuinely sending love to the other person, or just okay with the other person, but you will feel like that person is rejecting you, or you will feel like they were really into you and now they're not, but you're interpreting their behavior in a way that they didn't intend for it. So it's just the communication is off. Like, you know, maybe they don't really not like you. Maybe they didn't really like you when they showed that they did. Like, it doesn't necessarily reflect on you. It just reflects on the way that you understand each other. That's how I feel. That's how I think. If it's really hard to back away from a relationship where you're not receiving love. And people force themselves to make it work. And this is like the most extreme case, but like people will literally start cheating on the side just to force their relationship to work. Well, I'm not getting what I need from my relationship, but I really want to make sure that it's intact, because I really want to make sure that, you know, so I'm going to try and get what I need from outside of the relationship just so I can stay. And it's like the stupidest thing ever. I mean, that's an extreme. That's, you know, an extreme version, but like, if your needs aren't being met, if you're not getting love from a relationship, what are you gaining? Like, you might be gaining something else, maybe some sort of physical benefit or whatever, something, status, or something, you know, the person owns a house and you live in their house. Like, you may be getting something that is back in the back of your head, making you want the relationship, but it's not helping you. It's not helping fill your needs. I'm confusing people. Guys, if you don't want relationship advice from me, don't take this advice. It's just for people who want advice from me based on my experiences. My experiences have been dating in the ultra-Orthodox world and dating in the secular world. And very different types of dating. In the ultra-Orthodox world, I dated through matchmakers. And, you know, it was more formal type of dating. You know, you date a certain amount and then you get ready for getting engaged. In the secular world, my dating has been a mixture of, like, hookups and flings and relationships. Just a range. Okay? So... Okay, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully it's making sense for some people. For me, like, I really don't regret any relationship that I've had. Every single relationship that I've had, like, taught me something important about myself, or was an interesting experience, or taught me more about men. Like, when I first started dating in the secular world, I really, really was clueless, and I really was, you know, like, people really wanted to make it work, but, like, I had no idea what I was doing. So I don't think I was the best I can be in a relationship. I really didn't. I really didn't know what I was doing. Good night, Star. So I learned a lot from each one. I learned a lot from the crazy people, the nice people, the I don't know. I don't regret any relationship. There was this one guy that I was into. Maybe I'll make this into a video. There was this one guy that I was into, like, for so long. Like, I dated him when I was still religious, and it was like a matchmaking dating thing, and I was so into this guy, and I didn't even know why I was so into him. I mean, looking back and with having more experience now, I was able to, like, analyze that and see why. But there was this guy that I was so into. It was like through the matchmaking system, and I didn't like anybody through the matchmaking system, but it was just one guy, and I didn't know why I liked him so much. And then, you know, he was so emotionally unavailable. Like, he was like, he didn't want to talk to me at all. Like, he didn't want to communicate at all. And then but it was like, it was still, he still wanted to, like, he still considered it serious, I guess, or like a thing, or like a dating thing or whatever. But to him, that level of seriousness did not include communicating, at least the amount that I would expect to communicate. So, like, it was just so, I don't know, I wanted to talk, and then he ended it, and, like, I don't know, he ended it through the matchmaker, so I never ended up, like, talking to the guy again. But then for 5 years since then, it was like, it kept going on, and this is like, I was much younger, so it kept going on where, like, he would reach out to the matchmaker, he would reach out to my, you know, he would maybe even call me on my phone or something. And this, you know, it would happen like maybe twice a year, where he would, like, reach out, and then it was like kind of messing with my head. Like, he'd reach out and he would be like, yeah, you know, let's go out again, and I'd be like, okay. And then he would, like, ghost me, and then he would reach out again, and then he would ghost me. And so it was so confusing to me, and each time I told myself, like, okay, I'm not going to talk to this guy at all. I'm not going to communicate with him, because the more I communicate, the more I will become attached emotionally, and this is, like, really, really, really killing me. You know what I mean? Like, this is really just not a good experience. I'm not enjoying this, even though, like, you know, I like this guy, and I'm still obviously, like, hooked, right? But it's like not good for me. So I don't want to be attached anymore, so I just, like, wouldn't talk. I would just, like, try, like, I would block, you know, I would delete his number from my phone and try, you know, do not call, you know, like when people do that, do not call. And honestly, I don't think that helps. Do not call. It's just, like, why don't you just communicate? Why don't you just like, be open? And who cares if he will get scared away, or you will get attached, which you won't, because you're already attached. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, communicate, bring it all out in the open, hash it out, and usually that's when the best things happen. And the older I get, the more I realize that communicating as much as possible that's when the best things happen. That's when the progress is made. That's when I become less attached, because I understand people's motives more. You know what I mean? Like, I understand, I get everything off my chest, and I understand their motives more. Maybe they'll be irritated for a minute or 2 minutes, they'll get over it. You know, and you're helping them too. Communication helps in every situation. It really does. And the only things I regret was not communicating. This guy, after 5 years of, like, this back and forth where he would call and then ghost me, and then call again, and I would obsess over it. I'd be like, oh my God, he called. Why is he calling? Wow, it's 4 years later, 5 years later. Oh no, why? He's still thinking about me. And finally, after 5 years, right? Finally, I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm already attached. I'm not gonna get more attached. And I had already had some experience with dating enough to realize that maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea if I actually called him and tried to hash it out and really demanded an answer. So I messaged him and I said, I need to talk to you. This really has to end. And, this is what's happening. I'm really into you. I have been really into you for a long time. And I'm really into you for dating purposes. And, you keep going back and forth. I don't understand what kind of game you're playing. Like, tell me what your intentions are. What are you trying to do? And he finally calls back. He calls back, and I basically laid it all out on the table. I was like, I basically told him everything. And he calls and he goes, I was just, I don't know how to say this, but he was like, I was just like horny in the moment. And I was like, what? And, but when he said that, like the minute he said that, I was like, everything made sense to me. You know what I mean? And I guess this would keep happening. And he said, I thought that you would still be so it's like a booty call, right? And it's like, for years, he was making these booty calls. And to me, in my brain, I was interpreting it the way that my brain was interpreting things, which was, oh, he's still probably in love with me. Which was very much not the case. And so he's like, so, are you gonna, want to do it? Let's hook up. And I'm like, no. Like, I was legitimately in love with you. Or I thought, no, I don't want to do it. And anyway, and that actually really helped me. Like, that really helped me get over it. It really did. And I think that if more girls, because I know a lot of girls are afraid to do this. A lot of girls are afraid to talk because they think that, it will scare the guy away or whatever, It would really help to just be open and don't worry about how the other person might react. You're gonna scare them away, whatever, you won't, but so what if you did? You would be accomplishing something for yourself. Yeah, that guy, I was so into that guy and I was just like, what? But also for him, I think it really was a good thing because in his mind, he actually did think that it was also like a booty call for me. You know what I mean? He actually did think, and the funny thing is, looking back, he did ooze a lot of sexuality, and that really that was part of the part of the whole thing about why I was so attracted to him, because he was very out of the box, and it in my mind, because I'm a very emotional person, I interpreted it as passion. But and then he after that happened, after that exchange happened and we communicated, I really it really helped me get over it. He tried to flirt again, but it was I couldn't. It was talking to a different person. Like, I suddenly wasn't having that same thought. Anyway, so a lot of people in the comments are saying that he's gay. Why would you say that? Or you're probably just joking. You're probably joking. If you don't like the way that you are in a relationship, like if you feel like a creep in the relationship and she's not making you feel like $1 million, or he's not making you feel like the most beautiful person on planet Earth, that's not the ideal relationship. If you feel like you are too much, or you're pulling too much weight, you're loving too much, they're not loving as much as you are, or they're loving too much, there isn't like a balance in the relationship. And sometimes you just have to give it time. Maybe there could be balance, you know what I mean? But you know when it's too off balance. Someone said Alex's contemporary world is so fire. Okay. Haji says, do you wear glasses because your profile picture looks cute with the drawn glasses? You think I should wear glasses? Oliver's asking why Western and Middle Eastern girls are such hoes. Also, another thing is, like, everybody, you know, everyone will say, I don't play games, or like, you know, I just want to fall in love. I don't play games. I don't do this and that. But at the end of the day, you might end up doing it without realizing it, because most people aren't trying to play games. Or there's some people are, but those people are really shitty. Most people want to fall in love. If your relationship is taking you away from being the best person you can be and being productive in your life, not the ideal relationship. And also another thing is, like, usually when people are like, don't think into it too much, usually if it's right, you're gonna want to think into it too much. Lucas says, you know when you don't have to ask yourself if it's right. Exactly. You don't have to try to not think about it too much. If it's right, you won't even be having that thought. You're just gonna be like, it will just fly over your head. Love is tough to find, says Tom Brady Rocks. Ah! Puck says, seems like no one wants the responsibility that comes with love and religion. You know what else I noticed? Like, I mean, I probably mentioned this already, but usually, like, the complaints that we have about people are things that we are subconsciously doing too. Like, a thing I noticed is that I will often hear, or like we're subconsciously doing, or that the other person is getting from us. And it's not our fault very often. Like, this guy, for example, the guy I told you about. And this is not just this guy. It has happened actually with multiple men, where like my complaint about the guy will be that he is too guarded. He's not connecting with me emotionally. He's too guarded. But if you ask the guy what his problem was, he would literally say the same thing about me. He would say, she's too guarded. She's not connecting with me emotionally. And you're just like, what? How do you both have the same exact complaint about each other? And it's not because anyone is more guarded than the other. It's just because the way that you communicate is so different that it feels like the other person is being guarded when that's literally just how they communicate. To you, it seems guarded because you're just so not the right fit. Prodigal says, what if my soulmate is Ilhan Omar? I don't know, man. Your soulmate is Ilhan Omar. The right person unlocks the box. At the end of the day, you just have to learn to have a lot of compassion for yourself, because everyone just keeps kicking themselves in the foot, and it's really not worth it. Just don't kick yourself in the foot. In kicking yourself in the foot, is that the way to say it? Just don't kick yourself. Don't kick yourself. Everyone's constantly kicking themselves for how, I didn't I'm embarrassed. Now they think about me like this. Now everybody knows that I was dumped and, they weren't dumped and this and that. Now I feel rejected. Everyone's so afraid of rejection. The truth is that usually when you're being rejected, the other person isn't like sitting and laughing at you like, ah ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? Like if someone rejected you, they usually feel bad. Like they usually had a hard enough time to even come forward and reject you. You know what I mean? Like if someone was like, I'm not interested or whatever, usually it wasn't like the easiest thing for them to do or say. So they're not, they're not hating you. And they probably aren't even thinking about you a lot, which is a good thing. You don't want them to think about you a lot because you feel self-conscious already. Alex says, every time Pardes doesn't read one of my comments, I feel hella rejected. Yeah. There's no need to be embarrassed with literally anything. I just think people are too self-critical and critical of others. We're all just way too critical, and that's literally the problem behind everything. All of our problems would be solved if people were just less freaking critical. Alright, okay. Anything I missed? Okay. Why are you laughing at me? Prodigal says, do you let your guy be the little spoon? That's such a random question, but yes. I'm not really like, I'm not, one way or the other. Okay. All right. Any questions? Laughing with me. I should do the bangs again. The bangs are in here. You see this little thing? That's my bangs. Felix says, what are your favorite love and breakup songs? Oh man, I don't have a love and breakup song. When my friend, one time when I broke up, my friend sent me a song, and I already forgot what it was. It's like the classic breakup song, but I forgot what it was. And it really helped me. Like I would just like listening to it on the loop. Yeah, I don't have a favorite love breakup song. I'm just like I'm the least, I don't know. I'm not like cool. Nate says, would you marry a non-Jew knowing that your parents would be pissed? That is a good question. Ariana Grande breakup. Someone is saying that they're hearing noises. Yeah, there's a lot of noises in this place. Yeah, like Oliver says her parents are probably getting desperate at this point. That's so funny. That's really funny. Yeah, so I'm not in a rush to get married. I'm like, I thought when I was little, I thought I'd be married by 20 because that's, the age that everyone in my community was getting married. And now the older I get, the more I realize that you don't have to, they're like, oh, you have to be married when you're this age because then no one will marry you. And the older I get, the more I realize, like, that's not true. There is somebody out there for everybody. And it really is not about, it's really just about when you meet the right person. And that's like, you just have to just try with as many people as possible, Like, that's really just it. And it works. Like, you're not gonna try with a million people in your lifetime and then it not working. Like, it works. It can't not work. And especially if you are a very unique person, it might be a little bit hard because it's hard to find somebody that fits with you, but you're not gonna get in a relationship with anybody by just sitting on your butt and sitting at home. And I'm not telling you to go and do work. I'm telling you to go and have fun. Like, relationships are fun. Going and meeting people, like talking to girls, I'm sure hanging out with girls is fun. Someone is asking about my husband. I don't have a husband. Okay. Alright. Someone says wait till you're 30. I mean, I guess at 30 I'll be more, and I'm not like, oh, I don't want to get married now. It's just that I would rather be with the right person. I don't know, like, I feel like that's anyone would say that, right? I'd rather be with the right person. I'm not gonna like push anything off, but I'd rather just be with someone for the right reasons and not for any superficial, like, oh, I have to get married by this certain time, or oh, like, I need to marry the kind of person that my parents want, or the kind of person that fits this paper requirement, or the kind of person that looks good in front of my friends, because that's stupid, because your friends will keep changing. Okay. Alright, anybody have any more questions? Because I'm about to end this live stream. Alright. Going once, going twice, counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video. If you like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, you might have a chance at love. Not with me, but with somebody. Okay, bye.